Ciao, benvenuti, and welcome back to our channel, Move to Italy Now. Today we're going to be talking about some of the common mistakes that people make when they travel to Italy. So whether you found us from our wellness retreats or property searches, we'd like to give you solutions to some of those common problems so that you can enjoy your vacation to Italy. Recently, we decided to take a travel to the US. There was an issue that we had with our phone service. So I knew that it was imperative that we had a SIM card when we got there because of some of the problems that I faced with phone service in the past. Unfortunately, we could not get a SIM card at the airport, which is what I recommend you do. But if they don't have one, then you can always go to one of the big stores. We went to one of the big box stores and we got a SIM card, but for quite a few hours, we were without that service. So here's what I recommend you do. Download a couple of maps on your phone in the event that you are without phone service. So that would be like driving directions to the big box store to find your SIM card, for example, in case you don't have a map or navigation services. That is a recommendation I highly suggest. Also, I've been to airports that really don't have quality charging stations, and for other reasons, you may not even want to use a public charging station for your phone. So bring some kind of charging station so that you can charge your phone, and be sure to download a map to one of the local stores prior to leaving for your trip so that you know how to get to a store in the event you don't have navigation services. Your body's circadian rhythm can be turned upside down, especially when traveling multiple time zones. So the best thing to do is to start a few days ahead of time. I like to get started based on the number of hours of the time zone that I'll be traveling to. So for example, if it takes me 9 hours out of my normal time zone, I'm going to try to start getting prepared 9 days before. What things will I do? I'll do things like hydrating with natural celery juice or natural juices. And that means I'm going to be doing those juices myself. Another thing that I like to do is to practice certain types of breath work. So there's breath work that will help you to relax, and then there's breath work or breathing exercises that will help energize you. I practice those ahead of time, and I try to go with the time zone of the destination that I'm traveling to. So for example, if I need to go to sleep, I'll practice something that's very relaxing, a breathing technique that's very relaxing. And then at the destination time, when it's time for me to wake up, I try to do exercises like fire breath, for example, that will help aliven my body and give my body energy. And those things certainly help get your body acclimated to the new time zone. But there are other things to do. Another thing that I like to do, a soothing exercise like stretching. I try to skip the time that I normally would do my workouts or my stretching, and I base it on the new time zone. This may not be the easiest thing to do, but try to avoid caffeine and alcohol on the plane as much as possible. Actually, not just on the plane, but while you are traveling, because it has a way of obviously keeping you awake and not even allowing you to sleep the full number of hours that you need. It also is very dehydrating to the body, which brings me to the next point. Hydrate, 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 even while you are on the plane. Yes, it may be a little uncomfortable for you to have to get up and go to the restroom while you're on the plane, but water weight or swelling in your legs and your body. So the more you can get up and walk and hydrate and use the restroom, the better. So another good thing you might want to do is to start taking a natural sleep aid like melatonin, and using the same example of the 9-hour time difference, start taking that at the normal time of the travel destination, about 9 days in advance. If it's not practical for you, then try with 3. Whatever you can do to help yourself to be able to be awake during that time zone, that new time zone, and be sleepy when it's time for you to be sleepy, that is going to help you enjoy your trip a lot better. So another thing that you can do is, once you arrive to your destination, if it is daylight, expose yourself to the sun. And what I mean by that is go out to a park or some natural environment. If possible, take your shoes off and do a little exercise. If it's closer to the evening, make sure that exercise is stretching and breathing, and maybe even a quick meditation of relaxation. If it's during the day, you want to do a little bit of an exercise. So even if it's jumping jacks or running or, a quick jog, something to get things moving, get your body moving. And that will give you a little more energy to make it throughout your day. So you may say that these things just aren't practical in my life. Well, one thing that you can do is be sure to build your immune system up by doing some of the things that I just suggested: hydration, exercise, stretching, breath work, some type of meditation or meditative exercise that will help you to relax, breathing to help balance your hormones and also give you energy or either relaxation. Do as many of the things that you can do to ensure that your body is prepared, and your trip, I'm sure it'll be better. I used to overpack, and I tell you what, going through the airport with a clunky suitcase or several of them, and then seeing somebody just kind of effortlessly travel down the airport terminal with one bag, and just everything seems so effortless, that made me rethink the way that I travel. So here's another point. Do your best not to overpack. Think about the things that you will be doing, the activities, and pack accordingly. But also, it might be a good idea for you to think about a capsule wardrobe, something that you can wear with different pieces. So maybe you only bring 3 pair of pants and 3 skirts or 3 dresses, but you bring 7 shirts. In other words, you'll be able to mix and match certain things as long as they're in the same color scheme or thereabout. So wear a capsule wardrobe and pack light. Do make sure that your luggage is in good working order. In other words, if the zipper seems to be a little bit iffy, maybe you want to bring a different type of luggage. Also, there are these little ties that you can put around your luggage. I recommend buying those and keeping them in your luggage at all times, in case one of your zippers breaks or malfunctions. And then you can absolutely tie that luggage up and not have to worry about your things all over the airport. And again, be sure to have a charging bay to charge your mobile or your electronic devices. You want to be able to communicate when you need to. Keep your phone charged. Do whatever research you need to do in order to know what the locals do. It's a beautiful thing to tour, to be a tourist, But it is also a beautiful thing to immerse yourself into the culture. And so that starts with doing, again, a little research ahead of time. There are so many blog posts, vlog posts that talk about the destination of the place you're going to. In this instance, it would be Italy. And doing a little research to find out what the locals do will help you to be able to fit in with the locals and really enjoy your time with them. It just adds that extra something to your vacation that you normally wouldn't get if you're just doing all the touristy things. One of the things that I suggest is having a aperitivo in the evening. So go to a local bar, what they call a bar, and it's what we would call in America a café. Have your spritz and a few snacks, and then afterwards, go for a passeggiata, which is a walk. Yes, the Italians name their walk, and it's beautiful because, well, it's one of the ways they stay in such good shape. But go for a passeggiata and be sure to try to engage with the locals as best as you can. They're very, very interesting, and they love being able to have a conversation with someone from another country. So do your best to learn a few phrases, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. But people watch the gestures. Have your camera ready for all the little details that you are going to want to revisit when you get back home. Now, if you do want to have a short conversation with an Italian, you must learn a few key phrases and words. One of the things that Italians like to ask is, "Di dove sei?" or "Where are you from?" What you can say if you are American, like I am: "Sono americana," if you're a woman. If you are a man, "Sono americano." Then the Italian might want to engage you in further conversation. So one of the phrases that you can say is, "Mi dispiace, ma non parlo italiano molto bene." I'm sorry, but I don't speak Italian very well. Mi dispiace, ma non parlo italiano molto bene. That'll help. Well, when you're planning for a vacation, there are so many things that can go right, but there's a few things that sometimes will go wrong. So plan for adverse circumstances. One of the things that I always like to do is have a change of clothing with me based on the day that I arrive or the next day. Because if your luggage is lost, you want to be able to, freshen up at the hotel and change your clothes. Oftentimes, when luggage is lost, they will find your hotel or find you the following day. So be sure to bring enough things to tie you over for 24 hours in case your luggage is lost. Also, take a picture of your ID or your passport. That way, if you end up losing it or misplacing it and you're nervous, you have a level of comfort because you know what your passport number is, and you can actually feel a little more comfortable taking it from that point rather than losing everything and not knowing anything. I'm happy to say that this I've never had to worry about, but I would recommend also knowing where the local embassy is for you. Take down their address and their telephone number in the event you need to reach out to them. I don't know about you, but I don't really care for mosquitoes. And yet, there are plenty of them here. So what I like to do is to bring some type of natural aid that I can put on my skin, usually essential oils that deter the mosquitoes. It'll help your trip, believe me. And don't forget about those adapters. You know, the plugs in America or other countries may not necessarily be the same plugs in the place that you're traveling, especially Italy. So make sure that you do your research ahead of time and order some adapters for Italy. The Italian adapters are, like I said, the power outlets are different. So order those adapters ahead of time and maybe have two or three of them so that you can use them interchangeably and with multiple devices. That's a good tip. Highly recommend. Get an international driving permit. I got mine from AAA. There are other places that you can get them on. If you do a quick Google search, you'll get the information. They're very inexpensive. You may not need it because all rental car agencies don't require it. However, when you get to the rental car agency and they ask for it, you want to be able to present it so that you can get your vacation on without a hitch. I love it that we have the technology that we have so that we can do the research. Again, visit a vlog. There are plenty of YouTube videos out there or blogs out there that will explain to you how to take transportation in that country, in Italy. The trains, the language, the buses. They use a little bit of a different language, so learn some of the key phrases for the transportation services so that you can, again, engage yourself, immerse yourself into the culture. There's nothing worse for me than trying to get somewhere on a train and just being so frustrated and a little nervous and concerned that I won't get to my destination because I took the wrong train or I didn't understand something. So for me, I like doing a little research ahead of time and understanding how the transportation methods work. Again, it gives me an opportunity, maybe if I'm taking a train, to sit back, relax, and enjoy the countryside while I'm traveling through Italy. Depending on where you're going, Uber may not be available. So do your research in advance and find out what companies offer the transportation services, like when you want to order a car service, for example. I know they have several different ones. I don't normally do this. This is something that my husband does, but Uber, Free Now, and there are other apps. So make sure you have that app if that's going to be your method of transportation so that you don't have to worry about downloading the app and setting up the payments, credit card or whatever on that app. Everything is already done in advance, and it just takes a little of the pressure off of you so that you can really, really enjoy your trip without the frustration of traveling like a newbie. Another key thing to remember is to be flexible. And this really can apply to many different situations, but there's going to be changes and you want to be able to just be flexible and to kind of go with the flow when it requires it. That also applies to airport changes. Just recently when I was in Dallas, I arrived at the airport, I want to say like 2.5 hours early, as recommended by the airline, and they changed the terminal and the gates no less than 5 times from the time that I was there. So one of the things I highly recommend is at least 45 minutes before boarding, not 45 minutes before your plane leaves, but 45 minutes before boarding. Check to make sure that the terminal and the gate are the same. And if not, you'll have plenty of time to get to where you need to be in order to get on that plane on time. And one bonus tip is maybe consider getting travel insurance. There is nothing like missing your plane or some part of your trip, losing your luggage, and having to come out of pocket and not be reimbursed. But read the fine print, because not all insurance companies are the same. I can guarantee that. So there we are, 10 mistakes that some travelers make and solutions to help you to be able to have a good trip when you come to Italy.
So weren't those some great tips? Truth is, those are the techniques we use when we travel. Now, stay tuned. Next week, we're going to have another property tour, and the market is exploding right now, so you don't want to miss out on that. Anything else to add?
I was just thinking, I came up with some of the tips that we use, but I'm sure there are more. So if you have any tips that you think would be helpful to any of the people who are watching this video, please leave them in the comments field below.
Please do. We read all of your comments.
We really appreciate you tuning in with us, and we'll see you next time. Alla prossima.
Forward to it. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment if you haven't yet. We appreciate all of your engagement. Thank you so much.
Now I'll say it. Alla prossima. Ciao.
Ciao for now.